There's a version of you that everyone knows. The calm one, the funny one, the responsible one, the strong one. But there's another version of you that feels tired. Not physically, but internally. And the strange part is, you don't know which one is real. What if the personality you call yourself was never chosen? What if it was built to survive? You didn't wake up one day and decide, I will become the low-maintenance one. I will be the peacemaker. I will never need too much. I will never show weakness. It happened slowly, subtly, like water shaping stone. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions were unpredictable. So you became observant, hyper-aware. You learned to scan the room before speaking. Maybe love felt conditional. You were praised when you achieved, ignored when you didn't. So you became competent, impressive, high-functioning. Maybe conflict meant danger. So you became agreeable, easy, adaptable. This isn't random. It's psychology. In personality theory, especially within attachment science, we learn that children develop relational strategies based on how safe they feel. Your nervous system asks one question early in life. How do I stay connected and protected here? And whatever works gets reinforced. Behavioral psychology calls this operant conditioning. If being quiet reduces conflict, your brain marks quiet as safe. If being helpful earns approval, your brain marks helpful as valuable. If suppressing emotion prevents rejection, your brain marks invisible as intelligent. Over time, these strategies solidify. They stop feeling like strategies. They feel like identity. But here's the cost. What protects you in childhood can imprison you in adulthood. The peacemaker struggles to say no. The strong one doesn't know how to ask for help. The independent one feels lonely but doesn't reach out. The easygoing one doesn't know what they actually want. And the exhaustion you feel, it's cognitive dissonance. The psychological strain that happens when your behavior no longer matches your authentic emotional needs. Your system is running old software in a new environment. There's nothing wrong with you. You adapted. That's intelligence. From a neuroscience perspective, the brain is a prediction machine. It constantly scans for patterns. When it detects threat or instability, it prioritizes survival over authenticity. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and identity formation, develops gradually. But the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, develops early. So your survival wiring formed before your conscious identity did. You didn't choose who you became. Your nervous system did. And it did that to keep you safe. The exhaustion isn't weakness. It's a sign that the environment changed. But the adaptation didn't. Let's break down why this feels so heavy. Imagine your personality as a suit of armor. It protected you when you were small. It deflected conflict. It absorbed criticism. It earned approval. But now, you're still wearing it. All the time. Even when there's no battle. In neuroscience, chronic emotional suppression activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight response. Even subtle self-monitoring keeps your stress baseline elevated. There's also something called self-monitoring theory in social psychology. High self-monitors constantly adjust behavior based on social cues. They read the room, adapt tone, shift personality depending on context. This ability can be socially successful. But neurologically, it's expensive. It increases cognitive load. Your brain is running multiple programs at once. Who am I here? What version of me is acceptable? Is this too much? Is this not enough? That constant internal editing consumes working memory. And when working memory is overloaded, mental fatigue follows. There's another layer. When you suppress emotion repeatedly, the brain's anterior cingulate cortex, involved in emotional regulation, works overtime. Suppression is not deletion. It's containment. And containment requires energy. You're tired not because you're weak. You're tired because you've been performing identity management for years. This is not about destroying your personality. It's about updating it. Here are 5 principles. Instead of saying, I'm just independent, ask, when did independence become necessary? This shifts identity into context. Psychology calls this cognitive reappraisal, reframing a belief to reduce emotional rigidity. When you see traits as adaptations, you regain flexibility. Your nervous system gives feedback through fatigue. After interactions, ask, did this energize me or drain me? Self-determination theory shows that authenticity supports psychological vitality. Performance drains it. Energy is data. The brain rewires through repetition. Neuroplasticity requires safety and gradual exposure. Start small. Express a preference. Disagree gently. Admit uncertainty. Each time authenticity does not lead to rejection. Your amygdala updates its threat prediction. Your brain confuses familiar with safe. If you grew up managing others' emotions, chaos may feel familiar. But familiar is not always healthy. This is called conditioning bias. Consciously ask, is this actually unsafe or just unfamiliar? When identity is externally shaped, self-concept becomes unstable. Developing an internal anchor means clarifying values independent of performance. Acceptance and commitment therapy calls this values-based living. Values are different from roles. Roles change. Values remain. When behavior aligns with values rather than fear, exhaustion decreases. Here's the simple mental model. You built armor. Armor is useful in battle, but heavy in everyday life. You don't need to shatter it. You need to learn when to take it off. Survival personality is automatic. Authentic personality is intentional. One is driven by fear memory. The other is guided by conscious choice. Both live in you. The shift happens when awareness interrupts autopilot. Maybe the exhaustion you feel is not a flaw. Maybe it's a signal. A quiet one, telling you that the war is over. And you don't have to keep defending yourself in rooms that are no longer dangerous. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not difficult. You adapted beautifully. But you are allowed to evolve. The personality you built to survive kept you safe. The personality you build now can let you rest. And maybe, for the first time, you won't have to earn your existence. You'll just inhabit it.